Welcome everybody to the Terrain Studio. I'm your host, Shawn Morris. Tonight on the Terrain Studio, I thought I would do a viewer response video. I was asked by several viewers as well as several emails to perhaps showcase some of the armies that I have and or talk about the armies that I have. So I figured what better way than to actually pull out an army that I use and give you a walkthrough of the army. I thought I would start with my early war army since that's kind of the earliest at Flames of War, the era that they deal with. So this list here, just a little bit of background about it. This is my early war list that I ran at the 2011 Flames of War Nationals. This army here placed me 12th out of 60. Pretty, I think, kind of miraculous since I hadn't run the list or even played an early war game before that. So the tournament was my first time using the list. Turned out all right. Results were pretty good, and I came away with the best opponent award from that tournament as well. So all in all, it was a great experience. The list was very fun to play. It's kind of a vanilla list in terms of not many units in it. It's pretty blank. It's got a lot of repetitive platoons, but the fun factor is really high on the list, and I enjoyed playing it. And even though I don't play a lot of early war now, just because a lot of people aren't in it, or the niche is a little bit smaller and late war is kind of dominant, the list is still something that ranks high on my to-do list and my to-play list, I guess. The list I'm talking about, just for reference, does come out of Blitzkrieg here. This is an early war book. It's the first early war book released by Battlefront and by Flames of War. Still quite relevant. It does have a lot of great lists in it, and especially German lists, I find. So, and for further reference, the list I'm talking about, sorry, that's the wrong page. 2 pages over here, I think. 3 pages over. The list that's in front of you here is the Czech Panzer list. So if you're checking your own Blitzkrieg book, it's on page 72. That's where the list starts. So the force organization is right there. In the list itself, I'll just explain some of the units. I use Rommel, who's featured up front here, as my high command. He's in a 38T. In the list as well, I run, it varies, my list varies from time to time, but here I have 5 38Ts, which is the max you can take in a platoon. Here I have a second platoon of 38Ts. That's a Panzer 38T. There's a second unit of 5, so I have 11 of those total. Over here I have some Panzer 2s. I have 5 of them here. Typically I just run 3 to 4. In the list as my reconnaissance option, I have 4 8-rads. You can run them in groups of 2 or groups of 4. So that's my reconnaissance option. 8-rads are kind of almost as powerful as the tank, considering early war is very low in the front armor. Early war I find is a little bit different game. It's a lot of shooting and a lot of failed firepowers. So you do have a lot of bailed out tanks. You have a lot more survivability of the tanks, and infantry I find is really crucial in the game, and they don't get run over quite as quickly. Although it does tend to be more of a tank fest, so you do see a lot more tanks in early war. So if that's your thing, then early war might be something for you. Maybe you never even considered trying. To round out the list, I have in here a large Pioneer platoon. It's 9 stands. What makes it kind of unique is the fact that it does have more vehicles in it, so it does come standard. When you're purchasing, you don't need to purchase the extra trucks. You actually get 2 trucks. It's a field car and a truck, sorry, per squad. So you'll have the HQ, which has a field car, and then you can add a supply vehicle. Then you have your platoons of 3, which also come with 2 trucks or a field car and a truck. And then your third squad, if you take that, has a motorcycle option. So it's a nice little flavor. So all this central area right here, that's actually one large platoon. So I tend to run that in my list as well as kind of my objective holding unit or my objective taking unit. If I use those in conjunction with the 38T charge. So typically I run all the 11 38Ts just bang on, smack into somebody, and with all the machine gun dice, it's really quite awesome. Backing up in the back there are my 3 Stukas. Of course, in early war, Germans can get priority air, which is fantastic since they tend not to get it in any other era of the war. And they also have an option called Schwerpunkt, which allows you, if you pay for the option, it allows you to re-roll your aircraft dice. So being very clever, I thought in my early war experience I would take priority air and I'd purchase the Schwerpunkt because having that reroll of the plain dice would be amazing. Lo and behold, in over the course of 2 games, 8 turns total, I rolled my aircraft, and all 8 times I got 3 planes without having to do 1 reroll. So although 8 turns with 3 planes is amazing and really won me a game outright, it's almost like I wasted that reroll, that 25-point Schwerpunkt, and so I figured Schwerpunkt is useless. I don't need that anymore. So typically now I'll just run either limited or priority without the Schwerpunkt. But if you get the 25 points to spare, then I definitely recommend using it. And to further the story, the next 2 games I proceeded to never get aircraft. So I guess I used up all my luck in 1.5 games, I guess. So as I said, the list is really quite fun. It's really what you see is what you get kind of thing, and it's really straightforward. It's a really easy list to play, especially for beginners. Generally why I use the list. It's a little fragile when you run into heavy things like French tanks and things like that, but for most things, infantry list, heavy artillery list, it tends to drive through, and you don't mind losing a 38T here and there because you do have some vast numbers. I'll give you a few stats just on some of the tanks if you're wondering. Maybe I'll bring it in for a closer look here. There we go. Okay, so just talking about the tanks themselves, the Panzer II-C or D, depending on which one you run. So here you are. It has a front armor of 2. The beauty is it does have a rate of fire of 3. And anti-tank of 5, which you're going to say sounds very, very low, but given that early war is so low for front armor, 5 is actually not bad. It's about middle of the road. The firepower, again, is a 5 up, so again, there's that failed firepower rolls coming in. But it does have protected ammo, which is really, really great for the list because getting back in your tanks is very crucial after all those bailed out results. So that's the Panzer II. The Panzer 38T, which is the workhorse of the list, it does have a 24-inch range. I should mention that the Panzer II had a 16-inch range. So the Panzer 38T here has a 24-inch range. It's a front armor, again, of 2, rate of fire 2, slightly upped firepower with slightly upped anti-tank with anti-tank 6. It does have a firepower of 4 up, which is pretty good for early war. And then the beauty of it, again, is 2 machine guns, and you do have the protected ammo. So the whole list having protected ammo, being veteran, being confident, you got all the abilities to get back in. So you got 2 chances to get back in your tank. With a 4-up reroll, you're generally going to make that a lot. If you happen to have Rommel attached, then he can really help out with that sort of stuff. So there's Rommel right there. Hopefully he comes into focus. So really unique model, you know, sticks up above the tank and really helps to showcase and show off the command stature of him. So one of my favorite models there. Again, I mentioned the reconnaissance. It's the 8-rad, so it's kind of funny to see your reconnaissance vehicles bigger than your tanks, but the 8-rad is one of my favorites. I use it in my late war list as well. So it is a large 8-wheeled vehicle. It's got this unique nose scoop on the front here, this armor plating. Again, rate of fire 3 on the 8-rad, I believe. It's been a while since I played this, but I want to say rate of fire 3. I could be slightly incorrect with the 8-rad, but looks like I'm correct. Yeah, rate of fire 3, 5 anti-tank, and 5 plus firepower. So again, not too shabby. Does have the coax MG, so all the MGs are really paying dividends in the list. Let's grab one of the Pioneer stands. So these are Pioneers, so pretty unique get up, and it's a little bit different than the traditional P-Dot camo or the SS camo. And I have these kind of based up, I got these based up with a gray, kind of to match the motif of the list, just not to stand out too much from the rest of the units. I did mention that they had the motorcycle as well, so kind of gives you a little bit of flavor. I love the German motorcycles. It's just a really really unique model, and you get the passenger, and then you get the sidecar with the machine gun mounted, and just gives the model a really cool look. Although they don't see the tabletop that much, they do kind of give a little flavor to the list. And then the Stukas here in the back. Really love these. These are painted very well. One of my favorite models that I own. See if you can come into focus there. There we go. And then you get the soft underbelly there. So, got some damage on there. Got some bullet holes. Got some wear and tear. Got some, scuff marks on the nose cone, and really, really neat, really subtle cockpit, so they don't have that bright blue. So let's bring you guys back out here, and we'll finish off the thoughts. So there you go. That's the early war army there. It's a pretty big army in terms of models, so it's quite an expensive army. If you just ballpark, the tanks at $10 a piece, you're looking at 50, 60, 110, 160. You throw these in there, you're at 200, $20 for the platoon. So and then add all the trucks in, and then it's about a $300 army, maybe a bit higher than that because $10 is a bit low, but so it's a pretty expensive model wise. But then in terms of painting, if you wanted to knock this out pretty quick, a quick undercoat of gray, a nice wash over the tanks. There's not a lot to pick out. You're not doing camo, you're not doing a lot of that stuff. So in terms of getting it on the tabletop, it's pretty quick to do something like that. So it's got its balances. Certainly you can go some more heavy tanks if you wanted to go low model count, maybe some French heavy tanks or something like that, to get you a low cost for models. But if you want to go German, I highly recommend the 38T list, and it's like I said, one of my favorite early war lists, and especially the one I like to run in early war. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and maybe I'll have a look at some mid-war lists or some late war, or if you guys don't really like these, then I guess I won't do them. But if you guys do like these, I would appreciate you guys liking, commenting, and subscribing. So till next time, guys, cheers. Thanks for watching.